Why it matters? I think voice is about a chance to shape that agenda, about the chance to shape the opportunities that come from that. And I think being connected, because connection is part of a voice, is actually the chance to adapt and think about what are tomorrow's products. I'm going to move on now, so we'll cancel that and just give it a click and we should get a blank screen. Oh yeah, it did say not another bloody business model, didn't it? What do we do in Gloucestershire? My view is that voice exists. It isn't perfect, but it's as good as I've seen in my, I suppose, relatively limited exposure to other areas. As a starting point, we've been committed for a number of years now to a model of shopping, investing and giving. One of my happiest moments was when we had a change of political power and they genuinely bought into this concept. They could actually see the value of the three areas, shopping, investing, giving. They might have wanted to alter the balance slightly, but it is politically owned, and with my politicians it's seen as value for money and the business they want to stay in. Now shopping, largely to us, is about contracting. We spend, I think, and I've got different figures in my head, but around £70 million with the voluntary and community sector through shopping. Some of that is very large contracts in the care area. Some of it's care contracts with actually quite small players. And some of it is contracts in all sorts of different areas. But shopping is big for us, but we don't buy blind. I think where we use voice is that we look for your sector to help us with the needs, understanding the needs in our communities, giving us the evidence and intelligence and involvement in service design, and supporting getting user evaluation. So that to me is voice in action. Our contracts are affected by feedback and using our connections with your sector. Key part here though of voice is the investing part of shopping, investing, giving. We spend approximately £270,000 in supporting the infrastructure of the voluntary and community sector. That's Gloucestershire County Council paying to have that infrastructure in place. I think we get a lot for that. It creates the Gloucestershire Assembly, the principal place that I look for that voice. And let's be honest, we can't listen to over 1,000 whispers because that's what you'll get if you've not got something to bring together your sector. But it doesn't tend to be 1,000 whispers, it tends to be a few shouts and then lots of whispers. What do you listen to? If we take, I think there are examples in the economy, in the market economy of this. If I look at Gloucestershire, I can pick two sectors. One of them is aerospace, and one of them is tourism. Which do you think the most important in Gloucestershire is of those two? It is tourism. Which do you think's got the better voice? Yeah, so 20 companies can get their act together and are very, very effective and network across the southwest. 400 small organisations, which is what tourism is, find it much, much harder, even when we try and put the infrastructure in place. But you do need infrastructure to bring together a diverse sector. What else do we get for our investment here? We've got 4 themed groups which match our strategic partnership structures. Children and young people, health and well-being, environment, safer and stronger. That's a fantastic strength. That really says that the issues that are important at a strategic level in Gloucestershire are actually reflected straight away into collections of voluntary and community bodies as part of that infrastructure set up. In some of those change areas that I was on about, we've got 2 specialists working in the voluntary sector to assist organisations in service provision to children and young people and putting people first. The latter being the personalised budget area for adult services. We've got 2-way communications, email, website, But does it work? A question I was sort of grilling Jess on. We believe there are somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 voluntary and community sector organisations in Gloucestershire. Our Assembly and GAVCA reach about 1,800 of these directly with information. 510 receive an email bulletin on a weekly basis. About 100 would normally turn up at strategy group meetings or other key meetings. Now, if we were measuring that from a business perspective in terms of market penetration, it would be a pretty high level of success. I don't know if it's enough, but you'd certainly see the principles of diminishing returns if we tried to pursue that further. But you know, I feel pretty comfortable that what we're getting is pretty deep penetration, but it certainly isn't hitting 3,500. Another perspective, of course, is National Indicator 7 measure, which, lo and behold, is a fairly grotty result in Gloucestershire. We don't hit the smaller organisations in terms of that survey. Most respondents didn't have a financial relationship with us. I do wonder if it's just the Assembly, we don't get credited with the very effective Assembly, which we're effectively purchasing. But I'm not too worried about that, because I think we are relatively confident that we've got a model that's pretty good. I'm proud to be part of the group that received a National Excellence Award for our work with the Compact, even though your last piece of workshop was demonstrating that it's one thing having a compact, it's another thing making sure everyone understands what's in it and plays to the rules in there. Anyway, we seem to have something of a reputation nationally for this model. I'd like it to get stronger. I'm committed to using it. I think there's learning in there. Nearly got to the end. An original idea from me. Just think about those financial projections I showed you. Public sector bodies have already started to withdraw from services. I can think of several examples, not necessarily the County Council, but we will be. The public is left with absolutely nothing when we pull out of a service. The cost of us delivering a service, or a private sector contractor, or the voluntary and community sector as a contractor with the same specification, is frankly going to be the same. We find sexy names for sort of stopping doing things like rolling back the state. I just wonder if there's an opportunity for a conversation with your sector. UK PLC, Gloucestershire, public sector, whatever, can't afford this business model anymore, so that's why we're pulling out of it. But do you want the chance to invent the 50% cost alternative and welfare sustained funding for a period? So the choice is, we will not be there providing that service, but is it just worth that conversation every time to see if there is another way of doing it? We wouldn't specify how it's done, we just specify we want some coverage of this community need. Just a thought anyway. Came up in one of our partnership meetings. So to conclude, the voluntary and community sector, public sector relationship really matters to me. It really matters to Gloucestershire County Council, and I think it matters to, frankly, every public sector partner in Gloucestershire. The public sector will change very fast. We will change faster than we ever have, largely driven by finance. You could help shape it, you could adapt, because it will affect you, I believe. My experience says that this won't work without good, high coverage infrastructure in your sector. That's all I wanted to say. I hope I've had a go at answering the question. I hope I've covered something a bit different. Thank you very much for listening. Happy to take any questions.